changing a carb in a 110cc four-wheeler. It really doesn't matter in our four-wheelers if it's a 110 or a 125. The carb replacement is all basically the same. We're going to be changing it with a PZ19 carb. That's the carb we take for the 125 four-wheelers and for the 110 four-wheelers. It's the same carburetor. We will need a 10 mil wrench. We're just going to put that back on the seat for now. Need a flat screwdriver and a set of needle nose pliers. You won't necessarily need these, but some people have a hard time putting the gas cable back in, so it's always handy to have them. So we'll just put that aside. First things we're going to do is we're going to take our carb off. So we're going to go down here first. You'll see right at the front of the carb, right where my finger is, you'll see a little 10 mil bolt right there. And then there's another one on the opposite side. It's the exact same thing. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and take these 10 mil bolts out, and then we'll go from there. So they're usually not too bad. You don't want to over torque these when you put them back in either, because you will break the cast, and that's not good. So let's get these out first. We'll just set it down on that side. I'll go to the other side and I'll pull this off really quick. And the problem we had with this carb is that there's a stuck float in it. So if you look just down here, you'll see the gas pours out the float. That's the vent pipe, and the gas is pouring out of it. That's because of a stuck float in the carb. So that's why we're changing it. The majority of the time, that's what the issue is with a carb. It's just a stuck float up inside. So we got the other one off. Next, I'm going to come back around to this side, and I'm just going to put my hand in the top, and I'm going to unscrew the top off it. It should be only finger tight on there. You should never have to use a wrench or any sort of pliers to take that off. Okay, so now you'll see that the carb is right off. But before you remove the carb, you want to take the gas lines off. So you're going to go up to your fuel pepcock, which should be right where my finger is. And you're going to turn your fuel off. So right now it's up and down, so it's on. I think I can't see it very well. It's on. So yeah, we're going to turn it sideways. We're going to go to off. All right, perfect. So we get the gas off. Up there and grab the gas line, pop it off, filter, I'll take it down this way, and you'll need your needle nose pliers. You can take the clamp off. There you go, and we got the old carb out. Okay, so notice that I left the top up in there. Usually if you're changing the carb, you can leave the old top in there, but I'm going to go ahead and change it just to show you how it's done. So that's the old carb. So we're going to reach in where our throttle is, and we can pull it down here, and you can see that that's the cap for the throttle. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pull that off the plunger. So you just have to pull the string back, or the spring back, with your fingers. Dirty bugger. Okay, once you get the spring pulled back, just bring your cable down. There we go. Got the old cable. I'm going to take that spring out. And then we just pop this part off. You might have to work it around a little bit to get your cable to come out, but it will come out. There we go. And I get that little nub through that piece. So I'm just going to straighten my cable out first. There we go. Just to get that cap off. Oh, sorry, that cap doesn't go off. It goes up here. Ah, there we go. There's the old top. There's the old carburetor. Alright, so we're going to set that aside. Then we have our new carburetor right here. You want to pop this orange cap off. That is where the air filter goes. You'll notice the air filter wasn't tight on here. Okay, so remember when you're taking all the caps off and everything, you take the top off your carburetor, you need to remove the plunger as well. And you have to put the plunger on first. So you'll need the spring, the top. We're going to go back to our cable. As soon as I find it where it was hanging down. No, that's a gas line. There it is. So we need our throttle cable first. So the first thing we're going to do is going to put our cap on. We're going to feed our cable through it. Just a light push to get the cable through the hole. Give it a shove up. Perfect. Okay, then we need our spring. The spring is a pain in the butt, but you've got to do it. And you've got to compress it all the way down and try to hold it there. And you want to do that because you got to put your plunger back on. And the plunger goes into the line there. Yep, well, that's perfect. So now we have the plunger back on the carb. So that's the way it's supposed to be. So first things first is we're going to take our carb. We're going to put it back up inside. We're going to put the gas line back on first. There we go. And then we're just going to move our carb back to where it belongs. Just run my vent hose over to the other side. Okay, perfect. You got to remember to put your gasket in. When you put this gasket in, you have to remember to put the O-ring toward the intake. There's already an O-ring on the carburetor, so that O-ring will seal on the gasket, and then gasket O-ring will seal against the intake. So I've got my bolts on. I've just got them kind of finger tight, so I'm going to finger tighten them the rest of the way. Okay, perfect. So that's fairly finger tight. So now I'm going to go up here to my air vent hose right here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this on. It just slips up and pushes on like that on the carb. And then you're going to need your screwdriver to go ahead and tighten that up. I just want to take that plunger out of the way. Okay, so we're going to get up there. Oh, sorry about that. I'm going to get my air filter back on. Okay, turn my hose clamp so I can get it with my screwdriver. Perfect. Then I'll just put my screwdriver through the little vent and tighten that on. Perfect. So that's in place. Now we're going to put our plunger in. So our plunger is laying down here. It's always important when you're installing your plunger that you want to have this tiny little groove line up with your idle screw. You want to make sure, a lot of people when they put it on, they don't realize, and they have this 180 that will actually go down because of your your idle screw, but then it'll kind of stick in place and it won't give you your idle, it won't run right. It'll flood itself every time it tries to start. So make sure that this lines up with your idle screw. On this one, the idle screw is just below the choke. It's right here. So we know that we need this idle screw right here. We need it to be on the left side of the carburetor. So we're going to go up with the plunger and we're going to put it in like so. And you might have to do a little bit of wiggling with the plunger to get it in the right place. And then it'll drop right down, and then you just get your cap on. And when you're putting your cap on, it's very finely threaded. So it might take a little bit of time. It's a kind of a pain in the butt, but just take your time. You don't want to strip threads on the top of your carb. So just take your time putting it on, and just, again, screw it down snug with your fingers. You don't need to put any sort of wrench or pliers on it. And there you go, and that's in place. Now we have to tighten up our bolts. And once we tighten those, there's that bolt and the bolt on the other side. So I'll go ahead and tighten this bolt first. And you, again, when you're tightening these up, you don't want to over snug them. About 8 pounds of torque is fine. If you want to use a torque wrench, you don't have to. Just, again, when it feels like you got a bit of pressure on there, that's all you need. And right about there. Perfect. So I'm going to go to the other side. Just gonna tighten down my fingers for a second. And there you go, Venom fans. That's how you change a carburetor on our gas ATVs. I definitely want you guys to like and subscribe. And if you have any ideas for videos you want to see in the future, leave it in the comments below. And other than that, just have a great day, guys.